Poison prevention, very important, especially if you have a home with kids. But what about seniors or somebody with Alzheimer's or somebody with vision disabilities? Hello and welcome to WJTS in.form. I'm Bill Potter, your host, and joining me in the studio is Jan Dougan. Jan is the Du Bois County Extension Office Director, and she is also the Health and Human Services Educator for Du Bois County. Jan, it's always a pleasure to have you on, and today we're going to talk about poison prevention. And I know, around the house we have things that we don't even realize are poison, or we as adults know that they are not consumable, that they can be toxic. But to kids, they can look like candy or like a soft drink. Sure.
There's a lot of things in our homes. And when we think about areas of our homes that we should be concerned about, number one, the garage. The garage is an area where we store a lot of chemicals. We may store pesticides. We may store other products that when used properly or correctly for their purpose, they're fine. But when they're misused or when they're ingested by someone, they can be very harmful and would be considered a poison. The same is true in our kitchens. When you think about your kitchen and you think about where are you storing different things in your kitchen. And if you have young toddlers, maybe, maybe it's been a while since you've had young toddlers around and you have family visit and you have smaller children and you're not used to having things stored in a safe place anymore. And you have to be aware of that, because I know under my kitchen cabinet, I have cleansers stored, I have dishwashing liquid stored. I have things that if my young grandchildren opened those doors and got into those and thought that looked cool and tried to drink it, they would be very sick as a result of that. Then we also think about the bathroom area or the medicine cabinet where we do store our prescription or our over-the-counter drugs that we use. Again, when taken properly for the right person, when taken following directions, they are helpful, not harmful. But if we misuse them, they could be harmful, or the wrong person takes them, they could get hurt as a result of that. Another area that sometimes we don't think of as women is our purses. And what do we store in our purses? What do we have in our purses right now that if a young person got into the purse, is there something in there that could be dangerous to them? Or if a senior or someone that is vision impaired, as you mentioned, if they grab for something and it feels like or looks like something else, they may take it and it may be a poison to them.
So you really do have to be careful. And you bring up the point about being grandparents. Grandparents' houses, the cabinets don't have those little locks on them like probably the parents' house has. So that's something else to think about, that first of all, if you have young children in your house, get those little lock things that you can put on a door to keep them from opening and the kids can get in there. But if you're grandparents, understand that the grandkids probably can get in there because you don't have those locks.
Right. There's so many things we forget about.
Yes, little things.
The little things to keep the environment safe for everyone.
Now, some of the problem is that things look so much like other things, and not intentional, but things look safe that aren't necessarily safe.
Correct. So I brought a few of those things with me today, Bill, to show our people who are listening and watching us out there of what we mean by this, because I think seeing is believing. So, I just have some tea here that's brown, a brown liquid. I have some apple juice here that's a brown liquid, and those things are safe to drink, and we all enjoy those things from time to time. And then I have some other products that I've actually put into non-labeled containers. So in this particular container, I just put some apple cider, which is safe, if we would take that in. But if we would get anything like that in our eyes or something like that, that would be harmful. And then this is actually a cleanser. Maybe some of the viewers are familiar with Murphy's oil soap, which really, when you look at these things, they look very much alike, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, and they look kind of like Kool-Aid. Another thing they look like.
Well, that's true. That's true. So, one of the things I want to caution people about is always storing things in a labeled container. We want to be sure that if we take things out of one container and put them in another, that we label it so that people know what is in that container. Because this could be sitting around, for some reason you might have just had a little in the bottle and you wanted to get rid of the big bottle, so you poured it into a smaller container, but with no label, we don't know what this is. So if this would be sitting on the counter and someone who was vision impaired, a small child, or someone with dementia might think, oh, I'm thirsty, and they grab that and they start to drink it. And then we have a problem.
Right. Now, what about these powders kind of things that you brought as well?
Okay. So I brought a couple other things to show the viewers how much things do look alike. So on this purple paper, I have 2 different packages. Both of these products are from my kitchen. One is a safe product that we use when cooking. It's an ingredient in many recipes that we use. And the other one is a product that I use for cleaning.
You mean like a cleanser, like a...
Yeah.
Okay, like the powder cleanser, okay?
Yeah.
You cannot tell the difference.
You cannot.
I would have thought they were powdered sugars, what I would have thought.
You cannot tell the difference. So again, it's important to keep things in the original container. And sometimes, which I did not bring with me today, sometimes even the containers look so much alike today for one product that's safe to use and another product that's unsafe to use that people can get confused or even grab the wrong container. Especially those with vision impairment, they might not be able to read the container and they might not see that what they're grabbing is the wrong thing. So here's another example of some things we have around our house. These things, one thing came out of my medicine cabinet and one thing came out of my purse.
And I can only tell by looking really, really close, one looks like a Tic Tac and one looks like a pill. But to a child, they're both candy.
Yes, they both do look like candy, don't they? And there are so many different candies on the market that look like prescription drugs or look like over-the-counter drugs. And so we have to be very careful to keep those out of the hands of children. Again, keep those put away in a safe place and to prevent any poisoning of someone who would ingest something that they shouldn't take.
That's kind of goes back to what you said about your purse. Someplace that you don't think about having poisonous items in is your purse, and you might have a thing of mints and a prescription pill that you happen to be taking.
Right.
And the kids don't know the difference.
Right, right. And so many of us use those pill containers that especially I see where seniors will use those. And oftentimes they'll leave those set right on their kitchen table because that's accessible for them.
Right.
It's a reminder to them, and we want them to take their medication. We don't want them to forget to take their medication. So that's a clue to them or a cue to be sure to do that. But then when we have other people that come into the home and those are there, that could be a danger.
Yes.
To the other people.
Now, you also bought a prescription pill bottle. So
I did, because I like to remind people of prescription medication, and that usually there's one name on a prescription bottle, and that prescription has been written by the doctor for that individual. So we should not be sharing medications. And so the amount that is in here is the correct amount for that person. The directions that are on the prescription bottle are the directions for that individual who this medication was prescribed for. So it's important to follow those directions. It's important to finish the whole prescription when it's been prescribed for you. Even when you start to feel better, you need to, if it says to take all, then you need to be sure that you take it all. And we need to keep those out of the hands of young children. A lot of the safety features have helped, but some kids are very bright and they can figure those things out and do it better than we can. So we need to be aware and just keep those things away and out of the reach of either young children or if we have seniors living in the home with us. And it's a great idea if, let's say you and your wife both have different prescriptions that you have to take. So you should keep yours in one place and she should keep hers someplace else so that there's no risk of mixing those up and grabbing the wrong bottle when you're in a hurry or something.
And remember, prescriptions, if you have leftovers, can be disposed of properly. Don't put them down the drain.
Right.
Because that contaminates the water supply.
Right.
But I think the Huntingburg Police Department will accept them. Or there are prescription drug recapture days where you can drop them off.
The retired senior volunteer program, Becky Beckman, she always has, I think, twice a year. I know at least once a year they do take back, so they sponsor that, so that's a great thing to do. I also want to share with the viewers that if you think that anyone has ingested something or actually touched something or smelled something that could be dangerous to them, could be a poison to them, we often do poison prevention in the elementary schools for the very young child, like kindergarten age group, and we talk about never touching, never tasting, and never smelling something that you think might be a poison. So, you know, touching, poison ivy, leaves in the woods, tasting, drinking something like the Murphy oil soap, or toxic fumes that we would inhale. And we talk to them about the poison hotline, which is a very easy number to remember. It's 1-800-222-1222. So that's the poison hotline. They are available anytime. It's the quickest way to get a response to know what to do if you think someone has ingested something, smelled something, or touched something that is a poison and could harm them.
And I don't know if it's recommended for folks to keep syrup of Ipecac in your,
That is
in
a
your
recommendation.
first aid
That
kit
is a
or in your medicine
recommendation.
cabinet?
Yes, it is.
Now, not all things should you get the child to throw back up.
That's correct.
That's why you want to call a poison center to find out.
That's correct, because some
Or read
things,
the label.
Some things could cause more damage, can be more harmful if they come back up again. So yes, we want to call, and it's a service. It's a free service. It's a great service. And so if you have any issues or anything, you need to call that number.
And also make sure that you look on the poison bottles themselves, because oftentimes they will tell you what to do should this get ingested.
Correct, correct.
Or I guess into your eyes. I mean, there's different ways that you can be poisoned. And what's the number again for the Poison Center?
It's 1-800-222-1222.
And that's a number you should keep in someplace important. So
Well,
that you can
and
get
if anyone is interested, we have magnets and cards that you can add to your keychain at the Extension office. They're provided to us by the Poison Control Center, and we'll be glad to give those out to folks. We try to share those with the kids. We encourage them to take them home, talk to their grandparents and their parents about what they learned in school today. We also strongly encourage the kids that if they know a friend or a younger sibling has gotten into something that they shouldn't get into, call a grown-up right away is what we sing.
All right. So, Jan, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Be careful around your house. Poisons are everywhere. We all have them and we all use them for the right purpose, but you just don't want somebody to get a hold of those and take them. Jan, thank you once again for coming in. Thank you for watching WJTS in.form. We are local people watching local people.